This is Window Clean. It's our window cleaning option at Weber Cleaning, and it's mixed 3/4 of an ounce per quart of water. It is also an alcohol or ammonia-based chemical, so it will evaporate pretty quickly. Most times we use a quart bottle on location when cleaning our windows, and we want to mix it according to the instructions. That is how the manufacturer has decided that it works best. So please mix your chemicals according to the instructions. We want to go ahead and get our surface really nice and wet. If you're cleaning outside, I find it the easiest is to get a bucket with soapy water and wash the dirt and the grime away before I actually do this step. But inside, you can just get your window wet and then first wipe it with the microfiber to kind of get the majority of that water and any dirt and spots and fingerprints and stuff like that off your window. Then I actually go back with the eCloth polishing cloth and buff that dry. It's very important when doing windows to buff your window completely dry. Absolutely no bit of moisture left on your window. The best way to do that is by working in circles. Working in circles causes you to overlap the same surface area multiple times, and it's going to reduce your chances of leaving any moisture on that window. So I like to work in circles, going back and forth over the same areas. Don't forget the corners. That is a very important step in cleaning a window, and trust me, when the sun shines through that window, you will notice immediately whether or not you got those corners. The other option for drying those windows is a flour sack towel, and they're just about as effective. I tend to like an eCloth because I do find that they work longer. A flour sack towel, once it starts to get pretty moist, you can't get all that moisture off the window, which is absolutely necessary. And with an eCloth, you can continue to buff that moisture out of the window, whereas flour sack doesn't. But they both work very, very well. Again, do not forget the corners. Sometimes you will encounter stuff on the windows like paint or sheetrock mud or something where you need to go in with a razor blade like this. Please make sure that there is no rust on that razor blade. Make sure there are no nicks in the razor blade, and make sure that window does not have any coating before you start this process. Then you're going to go ahead and get your window wet. You never want to scrape a dry window. Always get your window wet first, and then go at it with the razor blade at a very mild angle, not at a 90 degree, but a very mild. You're almost holding that razor up against the whole thing up against the window. That way you're going to reduce your chance of scratching that window. It never feels good to damage someone else's property. So just make sure that you follow these steps before you start it. Doing it the right way actually is a very effective tool, and we highly recommend it when it's necessary because it really makes the window look nice as long as you do it properly. Then you just finish up the same way you wash any window. You're going to wash it with the microfiber. Make sure you put that razor blade back properly. Wash it with the microfiber, then go ahead and follow up with the polishing cloth or your flour sack towel, whichever is your preference, to finish buffing that window dry. Buff, buff, buff. I use that word all of the time when it comes to windows, and it couldn't be a more accurate description of how to clean a window. Okay, we're going to incorporate how to wash frozen windows. I know it's summer and everything is nice and warm, but when the winter comes and those windows get very, very cold and 30 below weather, you can't actually wash them the proper way like we would normally because your rag is actually going to freeze to the window. So here's what we do. You actually take your flour sack towel, and you take your wet microfiber and you just dab that flour sack. So it's just got the tiniest little bit of moisture on it, and then you can go ahead and buff that window dry just like you would any other window cleaning time. It's actually going to work super effectively. You're going to get all of your dirt and your fingerprints off. It's going to look like you washed the windows without actually washing them like you would in the summertime. You know, we haven't talked a lot about window tracks, but there are lots of different tools to clean in those window tracks when you're doing top to bottoms. Things like an awl, a knife, a toothbrush, little scrub brushes. All of those tools work great to get into those window tracks. And your microfiber rags will help you as well. That doesn't really fall into the window cleaning chemical line, so I'm just touching it really quickly here. Just like every other video we do, we hope you learned something new and that this makes you a better cleaning professional.